This watercolor paper that we sell, item number 105019, is a perfect size for this book, so no cutting required. Some early espresso cardstock, 3 7/8 by 5. And then you're going to also prepare your photos. So when it comes to your photos, open up PowerPoint, and I drop a whole bunch of pictures in there. Now what you're going to need is very small pictures for this project. The pictures are actually going to be 1 3/8 because you're going to use your square punch to crop these photos. So you can go get your low resolution photos. You bring them down to like 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. They'll probably be a good size for you to pile them on to one PowerPoint slide. And if you put 8 pictures on the slide, if you can fit 8 pictures on the slide, make sure you line them up on your PowerPoint slide. PM me if you guys think I should give a video on how to do this in PowerPoint. So I also have a bigger picture that I'm going to use for the cover. And these are all baby shots. And so the big picture is going to be on the inside cover. So I've used this 1 3/8 square punch, and I've pushed into that printout on photo paper, and I've kind of cropped out the little feet. Okay, then I cropped out the little hand. Now, create 2 by 2 squares. I want that to be watercolor too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount these photos onto that watercolor paper. I'm just going to move this so that you can see better. What I like to do is use my grid to help me center it on there, because you do want them centered. All of the little photos, I'm going to take them all and I'm going to mount them on the watercolor paper. Little miniature pieces of art and one large piece of art for the cover. So large, I think this is like 2 by 3. It's like the size of an ATC, the bigger one. Alright, now what am I going to do with these? Let me show you. I'm going to mount them on that textured brown cardstock. And I'm going to use a white gel pen, and I'm going to write a title for that picture. So this one says bath. Because we're actually, this is a hybrid project, we're going to be doing some computer work. You do want to do some handwriting, so try to do some handwriting here. Just make it one word, but this is your handwriting. Your handwriting means so much to future generations. So no matter what you think of it, they think it's precious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount all of my photos, and then I'm going to come back to the video. I'm going to put titles on these, right? So maybe this is the ultrasound, so I might title this First Glance. So I'm just going to write the word glance and then put first glance. Okay, so it's the first time you saw the baby. I'm going to move on and do the facing page. So what's going to happen in the book is there's going to actually be 2 pages. Like I had said to you last week, this is a photo journal. So the photos are an accent to the journaling that's going to be on the left. So each spread is going to have a journaling element and a photo element. Okay, so let's get started with the journaling element. Okay, so I've kind of zoomed in. I've got everything out of the way, and I've got just my full-size watercolor sheets from the Stampin' Up! Pack. And I've got a stamping pad of Sahara Sand. So you can use Sahara Sand or you can use Creamy Caramel. Stamp your block, E block, which is a perfect size, and I'm just going to stamp all over that block with the ink. And this is a very light ink, so you won't see it that well. But then I'm going to spritz this with water. And I want to see beads of water. Okay, see the beads of water? And then I'm going to lay this down on the watercolor in the center. And if I push, you can actually see that it's creating a kind of an interesting background with that ink. So I'm using my block, just my block, to stamp a background on this piece of watercolor paper. And then I'm going to lift that up. You're going to have to let this dry. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to do that exact same thing on all 8 watercolor strips, and you're going to spread them out so that they dry on their own. Okay, so I've got all of these already stamped and dry, so I'm going to start to add a little bit more embellishment to them. So being that our covers, we're using the Woodland Walk, this will help to tie this all together. And I'm going to use a soft suede, which is a little bit darker, to stamp this down. Now, when you're stamping this, you want to stamp off a little bit. So not exactly on the paper, kind of just like on the corner. Okay, and so that just adds a little element to there. You see there? You do the top and the bottom if you wanted to. I stamped off in that case, and that's fine. I'm going to get done with the stamping and I'll be right back. If you like the look of watercolor, take your mist, whatever kind you have, Lindy's Glimmer Shimmer Paint from Stampin' Up, and spray it. What will happen is that stamp that you did will now blur, and it looks like a watercolor design, just because you sprayed it with water. So let's say this picture was going to be next to that. Then what you would write over here is something that you're thinking in regards to the father and the child, because it's the father's hands and the child's hand. You could write that over there. But to speed up things today, I'm actually going to use printouts. So I've taken that same PowerPoint slide and I've actually printed out scriptures on vellum using that same PowerPoint slide that I used to print out my picture. Attach the vellum to the design we just made. It's going to show through, and this is going to give us a really nice effect. So I'm going to come right back after I stick these down. Instead of, I used a liquid glue today, you should use either a vellum glue or your Xyron to make the vellum sticky. And then I have scriptures on each one. Again, you'll see pictures at the end, and I've decided like what scripture goes with what picture and in what order I want it to show up in the book. So the last thing we're going to do is actually attach it. So there's a single paper sticking to the front cover, right? And then you're going to start, so I'm going to start with that first opening. This is going to be on the back of the cover, and I'm going to put my title page right here. So all I'm going to do is stick that right down. Now I'm going to want to use a repositional glue that dries permanent, because you want to be able to move it if you have to. So that's my cover. Now I start my spreads, okay? And with the spreads, I'm going to have left side text, right side image. And then you'll turn left side text, right side image. And then when you get done with one side, you'll flip it over and do the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to make you watch me, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got them all down. And if I were to page through this without the cover, I get the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one, and then the fourth one. Flip over, a single, a front and a side, a front and a side, a front and a side. Now, so I've taken the tape off the binding that we talked about earlier, and just keeping in mind that this is going to be my front cover, I'm just going to lay the first fold of the book down, and then I'm going to close the book, and then I'm going to grab the back cover. And so I'm going to do it so you can see that this lays on in the same way. Okay, and then this stands really cool. So it stands like that. Thank you, and enjoy your mini album. It'll look great on your desk, or it'll be a perfect gift for somebody. I love the look and feel of these Concertina bound books.